Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Quick Picks show on bookmakers.com TV. I'm joined by, our regular guests now. Of course, I've got Darren Hughes, I've got Charlie Muller, James Stoddart, and Mark Fordham is back. We're going to have 4 picks, including one from myself, which of course is the host's banker, to make sure that once all the value that these lads have found has been proved not to be able to be eaten, I will save our souls. So that hasn't been going very well. But Darren did land a horse racing punt last week, so he is on a roll. And this week we're going to dot between rugby union, horse racing in the UK. I should say rugby league. Charlie, you should have called me out on that one. Rugby league, of course, horse racing UK, a quick delve into the NFL with Alan and Jim at RotoWire, those stats, fantasy and general sports wizards, of course, rotowire.com. And then we've got some Nations League football because the EPL and European football slipped into the abyss of an international break. Right, why don't we kick off? Charlie, I'll let you go first. Over to you.
Yes, Dean, I'll just remind you as well that my side bet in the Madrid derby came off last week as well. But
side bet though, Charlie. If you don't make it the main quick pick, they can get lost.
Well, my bet this week is from the Super League Grand Final, which takes place at Old Trafford on Saturday evening, 6 p.m, between St Helens and Leeds Rhinos. St Helens are they've won the last 3 grand finals, so they're going for an unprecedented 4 in a row. For the Leeds Rhinos, this is their first grand final since 2017. And the omens are good for St Helens. They've won both meetings with the Rhinos this season, 42-12 and 26-0. Grand finals are generally low-scoring affairs, but they're usually played in wet conditions, given the time of year that we're in. But I've checked with the Met Office, and they assure me that there's no rain forecast for Old Trafford at 6 o'clock on Saturday evening. So the weather should be good for a nice, open, expansive game of rugby league. And my bet is St Helens to win with over 30.5 total points scored, which is available at 11-8 or plus 138 in a bet builder or same game parlay.
Thank you, Charlie. Okay, that's St Helens to win and over 30.5 total match points in the Super League Grand Final, of course, on Saturday, 6 p.m. UK time. Now, before we get stuck into the UK horse racing and some of that Nations League action, we're going to pass over to our friends at RotoWire. So take it away, Alan and Jim.
I'm Alan Seslowski from rotowire.com. This is Jim Coventry, NFL expert, also from RotoWire. And here are our 2 best bets for week 3 of the NFL.
So I'm not picking against the point spread this week. I'm going with an over-under for a single team. The Kansas City Chiefs visit the Indianapolis Colts in week 3. Now, the team total for the Chiefs is 27.5 points. And even though the Colts have given up just 22 points per game, they face the Texans and the Jaguars. Not exactly offensive juggernauts. The main point here is that Indianapolis' defensive coordinator is Gus Bradley. He doesn't make adjustments and stubbornly plays a style of defense that Patrick Mahomes shreds. Mahomes put up 41 and 48 points against Gus Bradley's defense last year. Now, the Chiefs have scored at least 30 points in 5 of their last 7 games. And this year, their one miss was scoring 27 points against the talented Chargers defense. Don't overthink this one. The Chiefs will score at least 34 points.
I'm 2-0 this season, and both times I selected the Miami Dolphins in week 1 as a favorite against the Patriots, and in week 2 as an underdog against the Ravens in one of the best comebacks we've seen, Jim. In week 3, the Dolphins are getting 6 points at home against the Bills, who are officially the best team in the NFL. The immediate reaction by the market was to take the Bills, giving less than a touchdown. I maintain the market is underestimating this tough Miami team who can run you out of the building with their 2 track star level speedster wide receivers, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Even after Tua posted a 6-touchdown game, the general market narrative on him is that it was just an outlier performance. We saw this version of Tua at Alabama, and we've been waiting for it ever since his devastating hip injury a couple years ago. It is possible that Tua finally feels comfortable and fully healthy. He is armed with elite pass catchers, a competent running game, and one of the best up-and-coming coaches in Mike McDaniel. It'll be tough for the Dolphins to beat the Bills, but I respect this team enough to believe that it will be a field goal that decides it. This is the last time you're going to get a good value on the Dolphins. I advise waiting till game time to see if this line creeps up to 6.5 or maybe even 7. But either way, give me the Dolphins and the points.
Okay, thank you, Alan. And Jim, of course, at rotowire.com. Do check them out. Hopefully they put us in the right direction for the NFL this week. Change of tact here. We're going UK horse racing. And the man on the roll is Darren Hughes.
Yeah, on a roll might be pushing it, Dean, but let's see if we can follow up. One very impressive 2-year-old last weekend with another very impressive 2-year-old this weekend. We're heading to Newmarket. A couple of Group 1s this weekend in Newmarket on Saturday afternoon, and I'm going for the Colts Group 1. It's the Juddmonte Middle Park Stakes, and my selection in this race is Mischief Magic for Charlie Appleby. Now, look, the market is headed by a horse called Marshman, who won his first 2 starts very impressively before just falling narrowly second to stablemate of Mischief Magic's at York last August, but the form of that is very, very strong, I must say. And Aidan O'Brien also sends over a raider here in the shape of Blackbeard, but he's been doing a lot of his running in France in recent times. I'm not convinced that form is the strongest, and I'm happy to swerve over him. Coming back to Mischief Magic, he had a bit of a break there from early August until he made his return there last week in a Group 3 in Kempton. Anyone who's been watching UK racing over the last 5 or 6 weeks, or even a little bit longer than that, will know that it's actually been very hard to make up ground in Kempton over this summer. I don't know whether it was the drought or the weather, but the all-weather surface has gotten quite sticky and cloggy, and unless you're on the pace, it's quite difficult to go and win a race. Didn't seem to bother Mischief Magic last week. It was ridden with supreme confidence by Pat Dobbs out the back, and the way he went through and won his race, it took my breath away anyway. Posted a very, very fast time for a 2-year-old sprinter, compared very favourably to a lot of older horse races on the same card, and I'm very, very taken with this lad. Charlie Appleby's 2-year-olds have been on an absolute roll this season. It seems like every one of them seems to be a potential group horse, and I just think he might be the fly in the ointment to spoil the front 2 in the market. So I'm Mischief Magic at 4-1 to win the Middle Park Stakes, or plus 400.
Love that. Mischief Magic to cause a bit of mischief in the Middle Park at Newmarket on Saturday. That's Darren Hughes. Okay, we're going to stick with racing. There's a big punting handicap on this weekend. James, over to you.
Yeah, the Cambridge handicap again at Newmarket on Saturday, 15:40 UK time. I like Kitsune Power. It's currently available at 16-1. It's always been doing most of its running over 7 furlongs to a mile early on, but it's been up and trip the last few runs, and the further it goes, the better it seems to perform. It won over 1.2 miles last time out on horses that have run over that distance with their last win. Have a really good record in the Cambridgeshire. This is over 1 mile one, but you've got to remember that this is a straight track. It's a big field handicap. It's got an uphill finish. They're going to go like mad at the start. It's who can hang on at the end. So anything that can go a little bit further will have a big say at the end. It's also Roger Varian horse has also been going great. See what they were doing last weekend and cleaned up. And it's first time cheap pieces. It was like a bit of first time headgear to bring out a bit of extra performance. Again, it's the big handicap of the weekend, so you get 6 or 7 places. This isn't going to be far away. It's 16-1.
Yeah, shop around for those enhanced place markets, of course, for the Cambridgeshire at the weekend. And it's Kitsune Power to continue the great form of the Varian Yard. And that's James Stoddart. Okay, we're going to have to switch now again, because we're going to talk about a little bit of Nations League football. It's not everyone's favourite thing, Mark, but it's on, and it replaces a bit of EPL action this weekend. Mark Fordham.
Yeah, thanks, Dean. You're right. It is everyone's favourite, but football's football. So we're heading to Hampden Park for this tip, and I think there's some value to be had. Scotland are playing Republic of Ireland on Saturday night at 19:45. Scotland aren't always the most reliable team to be betting on, but I think at the current prices, this is one we can take advantage of. In 5 of Scotland's last 6 games, the over 2.5 goals is hit. Admittedly, one of those games was a 3-0 defeat to Saturday's opponents, Republic of Ireland. But I'm willing to put that result down as an outlier, given it was just a few days after the Scots had been dumped out of the World Cup qualifying by the Ukraine. Outside of the Scotland win in June, the Republic of Ireland's recent results have been drab, to say the least. Scotland is the only win they've had in their last 4 matches. That run includes a 1-0 away defeat to Armenia, who Scotland beat 4-1 away from home and 2-0 at Hampden Park earlier this year. With that in mind, I see some pretty good value in Scotland to win and over 2.5 total goals coming in the game at plus 300 or 3-1.
Lovely. I was at that reverse fixture, Mark, and I think even the Irish fans were totally shocked at their dominance over Scotland that day. But we did catch them a little bit on the downslope after obviously a disappointing result just prior to that. So, okay, that is Scotland to win and over 2.5 goals in the Scotland versus Republic of Ireland game. And now, my host banker actually comes from the Nations League as well. And, you know, you'll be relieved to know it's not about Tottenham, because it has been on here for the last few weeks. But we'll get back to them next week. In the Nations League, Spain and Switzerland face off in Spain on Saturday at 7:45 UK time. The goal-shy Swiss are just not the best international outfit out there. Sturdy, resilient perhaps, but I think they're going to come unstuck against a flying Spanish outfit. The last time they met, the score was 1-0 to Spain. And I think this time be a clean sheet as well, but a bigger margin. I'm going to go with Spain and both teams to score no. And that's 5-4, which is plus 125. That is the host banker this weekend. My thanks, of course, go to Darren, Charlie, James, Mark, and Jim and Alan over at rotowire.com. All the bets are up on the screen right now. That's been the Quick Picks show on bookmakers.com this week. We'll be back again next week to celebrate all those winners.